the industry is moving past traditional generative AI and entering the era of world models, or so-called spatial intelligence. And we are moving beyond pixels. Instead of generating flat 2D images, we are using AI to create environments with true spatial understanding. And we are talking about AI that understands depth, physics, and object permanence. It's the difference between looking at a photograph of a room and generating an interactive situation or simulation of a room that you can physically walk around inside of. And yeah, that's just some background so that you know what we will show you in some seconds. And to harness that spatial intelligence, we built our own custom toolkits. Specifically here, we will show you our World Labs Unity toolkit, for example, which is running in the new PICO OS 6 emulator. And this kit allows you to prompt entire 3D worlds via the World Labs API using just text or images or video. And we utilize Gaussian splatting for real-time, ultra-realistic rendering here. And we have also built a runtime browser so that you can actually load these worlds dynamically inside of VR, or in the emulator in this case. And also, if you want to build directly in Unity editor, we also have a importer for that, so that you can directly bring in your World Labs worlds into your application. And yeah, let's jump right into Unity to see how this actually looks like under the hood. Before I go directly to Unity, I just want to show you one more time how World Labs actually looks like. So World Labs has two different applications, we could basically say. First would be World Labs Marble, which you can open here with the button directly, which is like this. That's their web-based platform. You can see all the worlds people generated. You can just basically click on them, and you can directly start exploring them. You can run through them, etc. You can also just create your own worlds here by putting a prompt here, or there's also some additional tools where you can pre-build a scene a bit with 3D objects, like just plain boxes, and give a prompt to build it. The alternative to this Marble would be to use the World Labs API. Just take care that both platforms are a bit divided, so worlds from one to the other are not interchangeable right now or accessible between both. But the API gives us, as a developer, the opportunity to build worlds directly via API calls and retrieving or downloading worlds as well. And that helps us to integrate them directly into our experiences and yeah, do something useful with them. There's not much to say here. There's some billing information. You can store credits in here. You can create API keys, which you will later need for Unity to set up, for example, or for other workflows. I just show you shortly here. If you want to create the API key, you would just give a name here, create a key, and copy it. I already did that, so yeah, I will just do it in Unity now. So now we are in Unity, and yeah, basically you can see I already pre-built the project a bit so that we can directly run everything, because it will take some time. But still, this is the GitHub project we offer to you as open source, and it basically saves you 25 hours of time, because that's the time we took to build it for you. So you can directly, with this project, get started at the hackathon or on your own before to start building with world models. And I basically just show you how you install this World Labs toolkit first. So I really recommend to go through it step by step because it's quite important. It's also important that you take care of the Unity version we suggest here, because for example, 6000.3 or 6.3 doesn't work because it doesn't support all the settings we need to do. So the first part you would need to do to install our kit would be to copy this URL here. Then you would need to go to Unity and go to Window, Package Management, Package Manager. And you would say with the plus here, I want to install a package from a Git URL. You paste it in here and click install. In my case, I did this already. And like you can see here, we have the toolkit installed. And just important is that you also go to samples here and import the sample as well, because you will need it to set up your project easily. That would be the first step. Then there's a couple of settings you would need to do in Unity. First is the API key we just copied from Word Labs. You would need to put it in an environment file, which looks like this. You can do that by going. You can see after installing Word Labs Unity integration, you have an extra button here in the menu, Word Labs Unity integration. We click on it and we go to settings here. If settings is not available, you need to click maybe create an env file automatically, and then you can go to settings here. You can open the env file. I will not do that now because there's already my key inside, but you would just need to paste basically your key from Word Labs into it and save it and click here on reload API key. And as soon you did that, you would be able to see all your worlds you created with the API from here. And you can create new worlds by giving a text prompt from here. And you would be able to import your models. But before you can even see all of that, because these are Gaussian splats, you would need to do some extra settings, which is the graphic settings we show you here. So you would need to go to your project settings to the graphic API. And for Mac, you would need to use the metal one or the standard one. And if you want to build to a mobile device, which we want to do, we want to build it for the PICO emulator, which is a mobile device here. We need to choose Vulkan here. I will show you where you can find that. So you would need to go to Edit, Project Settings, Graphics, Player. And on Player, you can see here, I already switched to the Android platform for building, and I set the graphics API to Vulkan. Then the next step would be the URP render configuration. So for that, you would need to go to the assets and setting and choose your active rendering setting and add a rendering feature to it, which is called Gaussian Splat URP feature. Additional, you would need to use this recommended settings, which are necessary to make it work, especially the depth texture and turning off the MSAA. And I will show you that as well. So you go to your assets, you go to settings, you go to your active renderer asset. In my case, here for mobile, it would be the mobile renderer. And you add a new renderer feature where you can click here and add this Gaussian Splat URP feature. In my case, you can see I already added it here and it's available. You could do same for a PC renderer if you want to run it on PC VR, for example. Exactly, you can see I created it here as well. Then in the mobile RP asset, like I said, you need to activate the depth texture. You need to turn on HDR and you need to disable the MSAA, and the same also for PC if you want to do that. And then there's just two settings left. The first one would be in the project settings, graphics. There's a checkbox for the compatibility mode, which deactivates or disables the render graph. And that's the reason actually why you need to use or can't use, for example, Unity 6.3, because there you don't have this setting anymore. So we go to the graphic settings of the project. You go all the way down, and you can see here under render graph the compatibility mode, which I activated. There's a warning. In this case, you can ignore the warning. And exactly, when there's just one setting left you need to do, it's in the project settings at the OpenXR plugin or XR plugin, you need to choose the render mode from single pass, you need to change it to multipass. So we would just do that in project settings. We go to XR plugin management. You see here OpenXR, and we change it to multipass. If you use the PICO asset, for example, as the XR plugin, change it to multipass here. Exactly. That's everything you need to do to see Gaussian splattings. If you would now, for example, have a new scene, I just create one. Exactly. It's empty now. You would be able to first you can delete the light because Gaussian splats are not affected by lights, so you can't use that actually. And yeah, in this case, we can delete the main camera, can put a PICO XR rig. I already have a scene for that. But I just want to show how it would work. So now you can go in the editor to Word Labs, Unity integration, and you see all your worlds. And if you now want to import an already generated world, you would just need to click on the import button. You can import a mesh, which is for collision, but it's not available yet, like you can see here in the mini model. So for the background at World Labs, you have two type of models. The mini model, which is cheaper and faster to build a world, but not high quality, and it doesn't have a collision map, which is an extra GLB file with a mesh for collision. But in the Plus model, you have it, which is a bit more expensive for each one. And yeah, just as a background. So if you want to import now the Gaussian splat, you would go to a Gaussian splat. You can just choose which size you want. I would choose here 500K and just medium quality. This is actually the compression level, how much he is compressing it in Unity. And you can decide, do I want to add it to the active scene already or not? I would do that in this case and just click on importing. And like you can see, this automatically imports your Gaussian splat to Unity. The other option you have here is creating your own world. You can just switch to here, and you could just give it a text prompt. I would say just give me old kitchen. And I use the mini model to make it a bit faster. You can use text prompts here. There's also options for putting images in, video URLs, etc. You can experiment with that, but I would just press now on generating it, and it will take a short time to do so. Exactly. I would like to continue now, but maybe I just wait now until it's finished. And it's already finished. It's quite fast, like you can see. You can just press on import again and click on 500,000, which is the medium amount of splats in there. You can load it also to the scene again. And if we watch now, you can see there's a splat of a kitchen. entire 3D world, which we just generated in seconds inside of the editor without even need to leave our experience. Exactly. The alternative would be, this is actually one component here where you can do some settings. Basically, you don't need to do any settings here because everything is running. You have the asset here. You can also choose now to use different splats, which you downloaded. The alternative would be to do everything inside of your experience. For that, I would just not save this. We would start differently. So in the assets, you have samples. With a Sense AI sample, and there's a prefab, which is a user interface actually. I already pulled it in here. And basically, it's just a normal user interface. We can also search for it in the scene one time where it is. And it basically has two important components. The first one is for loading worlds in the runtime dynamically. You can also choose here which sizes and compression levels you want to use again. You can say which of the worlds should be the standard world if you start your game or your experience. And yeah, there's just a checkbox if you want to invert the rotation around the z-axis because sometimes the world can be upside down. Additional, this one is the world browser controller, which is basically just there for the graphical user interaction. If you click a button, what happens? And also you can choose here, do you want to use the mini model, which I already explained, or the plus model for your creations. And the only additional thing I did here, except putting the prefab in here, was adding this track device graphic raycaster, which is necessary for PICO to interact with the user interface. Additional, I added here a building block of PICO for XRig, which you can just do here on PICO building blocks and adding your XRig so that you can run around in your world. And basically, we still have open our emulator here. You would be able now to go to your build settings and build profiles, and you can even build directly to the emulator here by just pressing build and run now. In my case, because it will take some time and we don't have so much time and we want to show you a lot more, I would just use the APK which I already created. I just need to find we will not find out many here. Or we will just build it. A second. I hope it doesn't take too long. Yes. I built it before, so it should not take too long time. Okay, we are lucky. And you see, build was successful and it automatically starts in your PICO emulator. You can see your application here. You can move around with it. You can see also your controller in your face right now. And actually just behind us, actually we are on the wrong side, is the user interface we just talked about. And now, like I described, you would be able to also load different worlds from within the experience. For example, this football field. There's actually a bug inside. So if you encounter this, you just change the world one more time. It happens always at the first world. You'll be able now to go through this Animal Crossing world, I guess I prompted. So you can dynamically create worlds here by just putting a prompt. We already did that, so I just leave it away now. But yeah, you can load worlds from within the experience. I will just jump to our next point now. Exactly. So that's how you would run a Unity application inside of the emulator, and also how you are able to, for example, run world models and Gaussian splats in the editor.